Ronak, there's a very popular question. So we have a lot of investments in the tech space, especially in the foreign portfolio. So Mr. Saurav Suman is asking, since these companies are clearly something that we have been very bullish on. But what is your take on companies that fall under the semiconductor space, or companies that provide infrastructure to these IT companies? So, for example, Nvidia is one of them.
Okay, thanks, Rohit. It is a very important sector, and if you look at some of the value addition that has happened in the past several decades, I mean, most people who have tracked the history of Silicon Valley, and pardon me if I'm going a little bit academic right now, if you track the history of Silicon Valley, most of the initial value was enjoyed by some of the semiconductor businesses. Eventually, software became a more dominant force, and that has been driving a lot of value creation over the past at least 25 years. In many areas, even 40 years, if you consider Microsoft as a benchmark. Clearly, in this period of time, there has been remarkable change in hardware as well as the infrastructure required for running all these softwares. But if you see, the number of companies is not as wide as some of the software businesses out there. So the larger part of the value has been taken by the software businesses. Clearly, not every software company will succeed over here, and very few hardware companies actually can survive and thrive over a long period of time. And that gives us a challenging problem because first of all, there is complexity of technology. So immediately we have to put it into a too difficult box because we don't understand the learning curve of technology and how fast it can leapfrog to something else. You as an analyst or me as an analyst of technology has to be aware of the next cycle coming in. When are the situations changing? Where is the competitor right now? And it becomes like a full-time job just to track all these developments, and that takes a lot of bandwidth to manage also. On top of that, the number of companies are not too many. So if at one point say Qualcomm will do well, sometimes Nvidia will do well, sometimes ARM will do well, or there are several other businesses which are like TSMC and everyone who are providing chip manufacturing base for everybody else. I think a lot of these players are independent businesses. If you start looking at them, the opportunity set becomes very small. Whereas in software, you have a larger ocean and can fish for better quality fish, which can provide you diversification as well. So I think we have meaningfully stayed away from them for this problem because first is the complexity, the technical complexity to understand what can happen, and also number of businesses being less. I think crowding also happens in terms of valuation. But it's a very important question. We keep track of these companies very actively.
Great. Thanks, Ronak.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.